What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Kofi Kingston, aka 1/3 of the New Day. You're not gonna say it with me, sir? Yeah, come on, you better participate. Let's try it again. 1/3 of the New Day, and you are watching The Young and the Wrestlers. Ha 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 ha.
Welcome to The Young and the Wrestlers, the pop culture's WWE podcast, a show that takes a look at the soap opera nature of the WWE. That's characters, that story, it's all the things that we like to mark out about. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Betson, alongside...
I'm Jay, and this is my hetero life mate, Silent Uso. I'm Jem.
This is our Hell in a Cell in Review. Is a very special episode, and it comes at you this Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want our regular Raw and SmackDown in Review, it comes at you on Thursdays at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/groups/thepopcultures, as well as our social medias like Twitter, Instagram, Discord, all those links are in the down below area. If you want to support this wrestling pod, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about the show. Be sure to go to pod services like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. There's a 5-star rating and a written review. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/popcultures, as well as our merchandise store, popcultures.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. How are you, Jim?
I am run off my feet, but it's wonderful, man. I'm exhausted, but I'm good.
It's that good kind of exhausted, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm fucked. I have a busted arm. Just for those that are watching the video, in the audio, I'm sitting here rocking a sling. So, in short, I went for a walk and I was attacked by a plover and it caught me off guard and I tripped and I hip and shouldered some concrete and blew apart my shoulder. So that was awesome. Yes, that's where I'm living right now. Other than that, it's pretty good. It's not total hell in a cell. I don't know. Let's go straight anyway. So this is our review of Hell in a Cell. Now, Jem, you haven't watched it yet.
No, this is going to be exciting. So we're getting my reactions as it happens.
Yeah, so with your busy new schedule, you weren't able to line up the time to sit down and watch the show, which is a real bummer. However, I get to see those raw and those visceral reactions from you, and it's going to be amazing. All right, so to kick the show off, it started with in the kickoff, R-Truth against Drew Gulak for 24/7 championship. Who fucking cares? R-Truth retained. Big surprise. First off was the Hell in a Cell I Quit match. So there was 3 Hell in a Cell matches on the card, and they sort of essentially start, middle, and end. Started with the I Quit match, which is Roman Reigns versus J Uso for the Universal Championship. So this was really good. It's sort of adding to what we saw in the previous match at was it Clash of Champions? Yeah, Clash of Champions with Jay and Roman Reigns. It was more of that Samoan dynasty sort of story, the tribal chief story. So here in the Hell in a Cell, where there was no rules, there was no disqualifications, anything could go, and it was essentially a last man standing match where the only way you could win is if you say that you quit. Now they haven't specified whether you quit the match or you quit the brand. I'm pretty sure it was just the match.
Yeah.
So there were a good to and fro for a little while, where Jay was getting the upper hand, Roman was getting the upper hand, vice versa. Eventually, Jay gets out of the ring and grabs a strap, one of the big leather straps for like a strap match.
Yeah.
Proceeds to just start laying into Roman, right? And it's like that was a cool, this beautiful, not like a heel turn, but like a power turn, right?
Yeah.
Starts demolishing him, like wrecking him hard. Brilliant. Then eventually Roman gets it. He starts going on it as well. Prior to that, we saw the guillotine that choked out Braun Strowman last week on SmackDown. A lot of those sort of things. But essentially, it ends with Roman just getting too hard, too heavy. The door opens. The refs come in, being like, "You're gonna kill him, man! Like, you need to stop." Like, this, it's not like not like last year's Hell in a Cell with Seth and Bray Wyatt and the Fiend, where it's like he hits him in the face with a hammer, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, I call the match." They didn't call the match. They just went in being like, "You're gonna want to stop, Jay. Please say you quit because you're gonna die."
Yeah. So
then it eventually ends with like him just choking him the fuck out. Like, it's brutal. And then eventually they pull apart from each other. The door comes open. Roman's doing incredible heel work. Like, this is the door's open. He's like, "I don't know why the hell's this door open. Shut this damn door. No one's going anywhere." You know, and then he's like dragging his limp-ass body around the ring. He sets him up near, hanging over the apron. Goes for a big, like, you know, sort of like a decapitating kick. Smashes him into the ring post. Puts him back up there. Proceeds to like put the step on the apron. Kicks the apron into him, like into his head and shoulder region. Drags him in the middle of the ring, gets the chair, sits it over the top of him, starts chewing him out something fierce. He picks up that stair, gets it above his head, and he's like about to smash it on his face. Like, it's a situation of he is going to pummel him with these set of stairs. In comes Jimmy, fanging it down the walkway, slides in the ring, gets over him, is like, "Oos, what are you doing, man? This is enough. This is enough. I don't know what you're battling. I don't know what's going on, but this isn't cool, man. You've like, stop it. And then Roman throws the stairs. He stops and he cries. He starts bawling. And it is like legit, and it feels like legit deep tears. It's like one of those cries that like lets out like months of frustrations, months of anguish and turmoil. And he's sitting there and he's like, "I don't know what I've become, man. I don't know what this is, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry." And then Jimmy's like, "No, man, I got you. It's cool. He reaches out his arm and they hold like hands. And he's like, "I'm so sorry, dude." And he's like, No, it's cool, man. You don't have to say sorry. It's all cool. And he's like, "No, I'm sorry." And then just fucking chokes him out.
No.
So he starts choking out like to Jimmy. Jay's unconscious at this point, and Jay eventually kind of comes to and starts just grabbing at Jimmy. And he's like, "Fuck, I quit. Jesus Christ, I quit."
Fuck.
Roman gets up, grabs the belt, leaves the ring, and the top of the ramp is Roman's father and another member of the Samoan dynasty. They give him the beads, essentially putting him in the upper echelon of the tribe, becoming the head of the table, and it ends with him holding the belts up high with the two leaders next to him.
Fucking wild.
It was awesome.
Wow, what a way to open a show.
Yeah, and it was so good because it's one of those things. It was using Hell in a Cell, using the no DQ stipulation to an advantage and to a storytelling advantage. It was showing the level at which Roman was willing to go, and even like at the end of that, like he used that
for his family
to provide, but he was also willing to cut his family. You know what I mean? Like, he betrayed both of his cousins here. All for the means of that win. What's your thoughts, Jem? Processing that, what's your thoughts? Any questions?
For the longest time since I've been watching it in the recent times, I've really doubted the storytelling and the longevity of things that the WWE can do. Like, it's very rare that you see good long-term storytelling. And this is good long-term storytelling. I am actually excited to watch it. While I hate watching like family members beat into family members, I know that like for me things are never really real until I watch them myself. So it's just like what you've told me and what I'm going to see are going to be like the same but completely different. So I'm excited. I'm just really excited. I was not expecting any of this from this match. I thought it was just going to be a basic ass.
I just beat down.
No, I'm excited. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, no, it blew me away in a lot of those ways. I was very, very happy with it because, as we said, in terms of long-term storytelling, this is essentially a man separating himself from his family to support his family. It's a very weird setup, but I like it because it's like I protect the family at all costs. Little does he realize the cost of that is the family itself. And as we've predicted, you know, that it is going to end with him versus The Rock.
Yes.
And that's the final. He's like, you know, that he's the last member of the family, I guess. You know, which is gonna be awesome. Next up was Elias versus Jeff Hardy. This was a continuation of you know, Elias claiming that Jeff Hardy hit him with a car. This really wasn't a whole lot. This was very much a palate cleanser to get you in sort of the next step to sort of, you know, get you towards the next Hell in a Cell match. It did end with a win to Elias, but by DQ. Elias gets ringside, tries to swing at Jeff with his guitar. Jeff ducks it. Then he eventually gets the guitar, hits Elias with it. DQ win to Elias. Sure. Whatever.
Smart.
Nothing major here. Good match, however, but it was nothing.
I just thought of something.
Next. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know how like Eddie Guerrero's whole thing back in the day was lie, cheat, steal?
Yep.
Elias, a cheat, a steal.
Next up was Otis versus The Miz in a Money in the Bank briefcase match. The idea was whoever would win would become the new owner of the Money in the Bank contract. Following on from Law and Otis on SmackDown this week, which was brilliant. You know, that was that right amount of like soap opera bullshit that we love. It was so dumb. Perfect. Beautiful. So here we get this match. Interesting. Otis has new theme music because, you know, they're now sort of, he's separate. He's not a tag star. Tucker was ringside with him, as was John Morrison ringside with The Miz. They went in, started interesting. It was an all right match, right? It wasn't too bad. It was, you know, sort of Miz getting a beat down on Otis, vice versa, sort of going either way.
Yes.
Where it took a very, very interesting turn was towards the back end of it.
Of course.
The Miz has, in short, the Miz gets in the Otis is in the ropes. The Miz is about to let him go, and then, bam, off camera, you just see this briefcase just pummel Otis in the face. It was Tucker.
No.
Yeah. So Tucker hits him with the case when the ref had his back turned. I think he was distracted by John. The Miz is absolutely shocked. Otis is down. 1, 2, 3. The Miz is now the Money in the Bank holder.
Shit.
And then
what?
Shortly after, they have a backstage interview with Miz and Morrison, and Tucker rocks up and they ask questions, and Miz and Morrison are fucking fantastic. They're hilarious as shit. They're, you know, they're like, hey, we really appreciate Tucker getting involved. We had no idea, but hey, man, what's going on? And then Tucker's like angry and starting to talk, and they're all like not taking him seriously. And he looks at them and they're all like, nah, man, it's your turn to speak. Don't worry about it. Nah, it's cool. Shut up. So in short, Tucker's idea was, this is bullshit. I got left behind. He won this briefcase, and then I helped him get with Mandy, and then what happened? He fucked me. Like, essentially, he stopped caring about me. He focused mostly on Mandy. You know, it was Mandy and what his single stuff. I got pushed aside. I wasn't here for a couple of months, and then next thing you know, we're separated. Yeah. So, you know, Otis is now without a briefcase. The Miz has it. The result that I wanted, a couple of reasons. Mostly because I believe the reason they put the belt on the briefcase on Otis was because they expected a crowd was the big plan. Mm-hmm. Because Otis is big over with the fans, big over with the crowd, always has been. So the idea of that fulfillment of that story of him and Mandy was going to work in person. The moment he gets the girl, the crowd's like, woo! But now in the Thunderdome, that's not really possible. And then on top of that, the idea, the second that Otis can cash in, the crowd would go wild, everyone would be on him. It'd be a complete brilliant babyface moment. There is no crowd. And there's no crowd in sight. With the current circumstance in the US, it's very unlikely they'll be able to have crowds for a window of time. So by having it go to Miz and to the Miz, we've seen Miz and Morrison be exceptional. We've seen them be energetic. We've seen them be exciting. Now, up until this point, I've not watched all of Raw yet. I cannot verify this, but the Miz essentially told both champions to be on notice. Which for me thinks that we're going to see something very similar to Sasha and Bayley as they did their cross-brand stuff when they were the women's title tag team champions. I see Miz and Morrison doing the same thing because they have that right amount of charm and energy and fun to be able to go across both brands and still provide something else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on that, Jim?
Yeah, look, the way you've explained it is spot on. Like, you bang on there. It's just not gonna, unfortunately, Otis isn't gonna land the way that we wanted him to.
Yeah.
So, giving it to, like, we know The Miz has been, like, the show horse of this whole thing for the longest time. So, we know that he can carry a belt, he can carry that charisma, and, like, it works both ways with The Miz because the crowd are sort of, like, indifferent to him, so not having anyone in the Thunderdome, it just sort of matches that persona of him and John Morrison. So I definitely think it was a smarter move.
Yeah, and as I said, without the crowd, he can do whatever he wants. He can react to everyone because they can choose the reaction of the crowd essentially with piped in sound. So and once again, like he has that obnoxious kind of attitude about him, which is awesome, and it ties into something a little bit later as well, which is fantastic. Next up was the second Hell in a Cell match. This was Sasha Bangs versus Bayley. This match was bonkers good. Good. So
the only thing I saw about this match was there was a picture of Bayley in the like getting pushed into the cage with the table, and somebody's like, as if Sasha thought that was actually going to hurt Bayley's back.
Yeah,
her ass is so big. I was like, hey.
There was great spots. There was some good setup, some good like sunset flips into the cage wall and stuff like that. There was a really good attempt for a setup where Bayley tried to. So there was essentially kendo sticks across from the stairs to the cage wall. Sasha goes through them, collects the sticks and the stairs. Looked brutal. They bush for a little while, come back. Bayley she essentially tries to make like a bow staff with the kendo stick. She puts two of them together, tries to duct tape them together, but she couldn't get the tape off the roll. So she's pulling on it, she looks at the ref and goes, "Can you do this for me?" And he's like, "I ain't gonna do it." She's like, "Fuck you then," essentially. And then just starts doing it herself. But so she then tries to put it between the ring and the cage, but because she didn't have enough time to tape it properly, it just kind of goes and just sadly kinks in the middle. And she's like, oh, come on. Michael Cole makes a comment. She's like, "Fuck you, Michael Cole." Like, it's like yells at him through the cage. Earlier in the night, they end up throwing a kendo stick through the hole in the cage, like at the commentators table, like yeah, just like peep it through, which was awesome. So the setup didn't work. They weren't whatever and just ran with it. So Bayley's like, whatever. All right, I'm gonna go back over to Sasha. This isn't gonna work, and then gets fire extinguished in the face. Yeah. So it was brilliant. She's like, "Oh, I can't see. I gotta leave the cage. This is kind of fucked. I can't see. She goes to the cage and she's pushing on the door, and like the chair is there. The chair that she like choked out Sasha with. She's like, "Oh, but I can't see." Pulls the chair in the ring. It's just like that eventually gets involved as well, which was great. In short, Sasha Banks is your new women's champion. After 380 days, Bayley has lost it. She loses it by getting a bank statement while being in a chair. So they had the chair around her neck, bank statement on her face. Sasha is just kicking that chair. So just like, just chinning her out. And Bayley
trying to decapitate her.
Essentially. So she had I can't do it with my shoulder, but she had her in the lock and she's like kicking the leg around and just kicking the living shit out of the chair. It's an awesome shot. Awesome shot. So Sasha, who has been in all three women's Hell in a Cell matches that have ever happened, she finally gets her first win in them and finally continues her win on pay-per-view too, which is brilliant.
Yay!
And you frozen. So Jem is frozen, but thankfully it's a nice face of excitement. So if anything for her, she's really happy with the result, I guess. Will she come back? No, she won't. But either way, like this is the I'm just gonna talk until Jem returns. best possible result here. I think it means a lot more by having the run broken by Bayley, so Sasha breaking the run of Bayley, the longest ever run in the SmackDown Women's Championship history. It means so much more, and it's going to fuel that food. Oh, you're back.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Hi.
You had this face of excitement for the longest time. It was awesome. Yeah, so it's gonna fuel that feud as we head into presumably what's going to be a Mania match if it goes that far. But I don't know what it's going to be because like Hell in a Cell seems like a pretty big match to do. To have this transition on, so I don't know how they escalated even higher, but it was awesome. It was really, really good.
Yeah, this is definitely one I'm hanging for.
Yeah, and like you will love it.
I need the resolution of this. I need it.
Yeah,
because I'm assuming like at the moment, Hell in a Cell is kind of like the resolution of last season, and now we're moving into the new sort of
pretty much. Yeah, there is a lot of that. Yeah. But also sort of adding on some things that are already there. An example being the next match, which was thrown together on the night. It was the Hurt Business versus the Retribution in the Kickoff show. Mustafa Ali was essentially on there being like, hey, we'll fight any of you pricks. So in short, Slapjack, Shane Thorne gets thrown out as the person. Takes on Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley's essentially like, I'm so confident it's a US title match. What are you going to do? And then just kicks the shit out of like fucking Macapaka. Macapaka had no idea what was going on. He just didn't do well.
The Tumbly Blues were in shock.
Yeah, Tumbly Blues were ringside, all kind of shocked and baffled. Yeah.
Eagle Piggle didn't go to bed yet.
Yeah. Mustafa Eagle Piggle was not too happy at all, but. Yeah, and that was probably the only match on the card that was a little bit, but it was supposed to be. This was a palate cleanser. Like if you've just had a big, this big meal of what was Sasha and Bayley, and then you know that like coming up is the WWE Championship. This is that dry biscuit. You put that in your mouth and it restarts the taste buds. It may give you a nice kind of bland palate. So when you know what's coming after. It's going to be so much better. Like, because that's the problem. If you build up and then you build up again, what that peak is less and less. But if you peak, decline, and then peak again, that's good booking for pay-per-view. And that's what this was.
For sure.
Complete. No one gives a shit. It was a match. Hell in a Cell.
Well, with that though, I did say to you the other day, I think I've clued on to the whole why Mustafa Ali is the leader of Retribution, and this goes back to when they stripped him of his first name and they were calling him Ali only. I feel like, he took on that anonymous persona, and we saw all those hacker videos, which we knew was him.
Which he admitted to in last week as well on SmackDown, yeah?
Yeah, which we knew. It's basically like his way of saying, like, you took my identity and, like, this is what you left me with, which is, like, nothing, essentially. And this, like, naming himself in Retribution is, like, taking his identity back.
Well, and that one of the big things as well is because once, as I mentioned, I have started watching Raw for this week, and they talk about that, and he's like, it's in short, it's a company that didn't know how to sell someone named Mustafa Ali. So like, it's not Mustafa. It's now he's corrected it to be Mustafa, which is how it's supposed to be pronounced, right? So it's Mustafa Ali. Awesome. I like that. It's a really great step.
I'm down for it. I'm so down for it.
Speaking of getting down for it, Hell in a Cell match, main event. Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Hell in a Cell. Drew McIntyre comes out first.
Of course he does.
Ready to rock and roll. Makes his way into the ring. The door goes. He's about to walk in the cage. Cameraman suddenly removes his mask. It's Randy Orton. But Drew McIntyre, he's seen this shit. He knows. He knows that that Randy has a history of trying to be janitorial staff. He turns around and just fucking boosh! And like he knew he was there. Kicks his ass outside of the ring for a little while. Gets him in. Randy's freaking out a little bit. They shut the door, lock the door down. There you go. Done. But, cool. They start beating on each other for a little while. Whatever. Somehow, at some point, Randy gets a set of bolt cutters. Cuts that door open. Now, my understanding was they say if you leave the Hell in a Cell, technically you forfeit the match. Apparently, those rules don't apply here. Because I remember like Brock Lesnar being speared through a cage at the wall at some point, and that counted. Don't know. Either way, they get out of the ring after bussing around the outside, clearing the commentators' table and everything. Randy just starts climbing the cage.
Of course he does.
And he gets up top and he's like, come on, bring it. Drew's like, all right, fuck you. And then he climbs up the side. They get up top. They push for a little while. Randy gets this metal pipe out of somewhere and he's holding it. And because it's red with a black handle, it looks like we're about to have a lightsaber battle on top of the Hell in a Cell. It was awesome. Because they're using this new drone camera, right? So it's like, it's hovering around. It looks like a video game. It was really weird. But Randy's got the right idea. He's going for the leg. The whole process up to this point is going the leg. If Drew can't Claymore, he's done. He's out of there, right? Working on the leg. As he's down on the top, writhing in pain, Randy starts climbing down from the other side. Devastates me. I was thinking, man, he's going to RKO him from the top of the cell.
Yeah, Mick Foley shit going on.
He climbs down. They get just about a quarter of the way down, and Drew comes back down around. They start bussing, bus. Drew cops a punch to the face, eats shit, just falls right through it from 3/4 height, like just blows apart the commentators' table.
Oh shit!
Push comes to shove, they get back in the ring. It's all going. Drew lays a Claymore kick right in Randy's face. You think he's down? No, he's down, and then he's getting ready for the Claymore kick. And like, fuck me, this is it. This is where it goes. So Randy's there. He gets up. Drew comes for the kick. Randy ducks, sneaks it underneath. RKO, boom. 1, 2, 3. Randy's a 14-time WWE champion.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. 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 No.
Yeah.
No. I'm not okay with that. No.
I'm incredibly okay with it. I think it's perfect.
I am not okay with that. No. No. Like, yes, but no. No.
It's awesome.
Oh, Drew was having such a good run.
It's not done yet, man. This is Randy's.
Yeah, I know.
This is Randy's last run. That's how I see it.
Yeah. I know Drew's going to have a massive
comeback. He's tied with Triple H right now. So and then he's 14 times. And then, obviously, there's John Cena and Ric Flair at 15. I don't see Randy getting that next step. This is his last big run. And being the big heel on Raw, this is validating his heel run. This is validating his, legend killer status. And, especially after, this is his third match, I think, with Drew McIntyre. So the idea, he lost, you lost, and then you won.
Yeah.
So, it's like as the odds were getting harder, that's where, the Viper, waiting, being that
no.
It's mad. It was brilliant. But once again, that is not a disservice to Drew McIntyre, might I add.
Not at all.
He had an entire reign with no crowds, and he made that belt look awesome. That belt made him look awesome. He fucking smashed it in this no crowd era, the quarantine era, whatever they're going to end up calling it.
Yeah.
It is awesome. He will be champion again.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah.
And maybe it'll be when there's a crowd. And he'll get that.
I think that's what he needs.
And he'll get that pop that he deserves. Mm-hmm. But until then, Randy looks good with the belt on his shoulder, is all I'm saying.
Okay. Oh, wow.
What? Overall, this pay-per-view was fucking dope.
I am so keen. No! Oh! Oh, Randy, what?
Yeah, but Drew went out like a fucking champ, though.
Yeah, he would have lost with grace.
Oh, it was one of those things. It was just he got it pummeled, and it's like
come out so strong.
Yeah, even in there was no other scenario. He didn't just eat shit and be like, 1, 2, 3, sneaky roll up. Yeah. No, it went for 45 minutes or something. It was beautiful.
Oh, I'm excited. That actually literally gave me shivers. I love a good long match.
Actually, yeah, so the Roman match was nice and long. Because there was only essentially 5 or 6 matches on the card. The Hell in a Cell match has got a really good stretch of time.
Oh, yeah. which is good. That's what I like about Hell in a Cell is it's less matches on the card, more engaging matches.
So you obviously you can't rate it, Jem, but I'm gonna rate it Hell in a Cell 2020, and I have to shift my hand. 2 Kurt Angles right here. I thought it was front to back amazing. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, like the big story beats of all of them were just mad, absolutely mad. Like, you know, as I said with Roman, it's fueling that story. It's more. Elias and Jeff Hardy, I don't care, but you're not supposed to care. That's a filler match. Miz and Otis, they move the Money in the Bank briefcase to someone that could do a bit more with it right now. Perfect, absolutely perfect. Yeah. Sasha and Bayley, they've shifted it. They've changed that story. They're pushing that story forward. Awesome, absolutely awesome. And that means we're also going to get Bayley versus Sasha Banks versus Asuka at Survivor Series. Win.
Yes.
We're going to get Roman versus Randy. Win.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Think about it that way.
Oh, yeah.
You know, then Bobby Lashley versus Macapaka, you're not supposed to care. It was a short match anyway. And then Randy getting the win, beautiful. Because it's that chase. And like I said, as we know, like the chase for the face is better.
Yeah.
And like the validity of Randy Orton's little heel run, the whole Legend Killer, as I mentioned, this is the payoff to that. This makes it so much better when we get to that point and he gets dethroned again. And maybe it comes down to a retirement match. Because as I said, I don't see him. He's doing it for a very long time. He's probably not going to have a lot of title reigns in him. So what if that's it? What if this goes all the way to Mania and Randy's like, if I lose, I'm out.
Yeah.
That would be huge. And on top of that, can sort of a bit of extra storylining here. So the Miz is now a 2-time Money in the Bank briefcase holder.
Yes.
He has previously, obviously, by 2 times, it means he's had it once before. And he cashed that in once before against Randy Orton in Florida.
Yeah.
An extra layer of story there as well. So although Miz was kind of alluding to going across both, I kind of see... Oh, I'm sweaty and gross in my fucking sling. I see him... I know, hot, right? I see him focusing on Randy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so. That'd be some good long-term storytelling, too.
It's very, very good. It's a good week.
I am so keen to watch it now. Wow.
All right, let's wrap this up so you can go watch it. This has been our Hell in a Cell in review, and it's come at you this very special Wednesday at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join our regular show where we talk about Raw and SmackDown, be sure to check it out on Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to watch the show live, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures where you can watch us record the show, get involved with it, tell us your thoughts as you go. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this wrestling pod. If you're listening to us on those audio services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you're watching on the video over on YouTube, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer to every single comment. We would really appreciate it if you got out there and you told people about the show. You know, we are still a small show. We are a niche within a niche. Like, wrestling is a niche. We talk about the storytelling in the WWE. No one does that shit. Mm-hmm. We dug a hole for ourselves. Help get people in that hole.
Mm-hmm. It's cozy down here.
It is. It's very cozy down here. And we like being down here. Being down here is great. Yeah. And if you want to support the show financially, you can. Patreon.com/thepopcultures, as well as our merchandise.popcultures.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. But until we come back tomorrow to talk some Raw, I'm Ryan Betson.
And I'm Jem.
And we'll see you then.
Good night.
The Young and the Restless, the Pop Culturist WWE podcast, is fan support over at Patreon at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: AJ Abatomi, Damian Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.